Welcome, my brother and sister, a wide world ministry, a word around the world. I am delighted and excited to be standing out here at Greenville Memorial Hospital, which is now called Prisma Hospital here in Greenville, right behind me. This is our biggest, large hospital in Greenville. I am so grateful to stand before you to tell you a word, even in the midst, in the present, in the middle of the hospital, because there's so much sickness that is going on around the world, and there's so many people that are facing and dealing with so much sickness that is unreal. I want to share with you today, though, that the Lord knows all about us, our sickness, our condition, no matter what it is. Remember this right here, that earth can carry no sorrow where heaven cannot heal. Jesus heals, Jesus saves, Jesus delivers, and he works miracles in our lives. A lot of people have forgotten and thinking that God's gone off the Mac. He's still working miracles in our lives today. I want to share with you just a few verses of Psalm 90. I began reading at verse 1, a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountain was brought forth, or even thou hast formed the earth, the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou turnest man to destruction, and said, return ye children of man, for 1,000 years in thy sight, but as yesterday, when it is past, and as it went watch in the night. Other words here, first of all, we are living at a time that a lot of us, whether you know it or not, haven't really lived one day in the sight of God. If you can pass 1,000 years, then you live a day. Nobody even lived. Methuselah was the oldest one that lived, oldest man on earth, and lived longer than anybody. And he died. Nobody have ever lived a day. The Lord has created that time like that. Knows the beginning when we was born, knows the day when we came into this world. I want to show you something. Even before the mountain was brought forth, thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting. Revelation talks about the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, the first and the last, from everlasting to everlasting. Otherwise, God, from the beginning to the ending. Thou turn man to destruction, he said. It said, return ye children of man. He goes on and said, 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday, which is one day, when it is past, and as a watch in the night. 1,000 years, remember this, is only one day in the sight of God. Let me share with you one more down here that said, he's carried them away as with a flood. They are as sheep. In the morning they are like grass which groweth up. And in the morning it flourished and groweth up. And in the evening it is cut down and withered. For we are consumed by them, by thine anger and by thy wrath are we troubled. Other word, now we are born to die. Let me refresh that real well, because a lot of folks act like they're going to live forever. No, no, no. You are born to die. The scriptures certainly say to us that it is once that a man dies, and after that comes the judgment day. Well, when he talks about this in summer, he summed it up by saying, for we are consumed by thine anger and by thy wrath are we troubled. He goes on and talks about, thou hast set our iniquity before thee, our sacred sin in the light of thy countenance. And then he goes on and said, for all the days, he said, are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a talent in that is told. The day of our years are 80 years, 10, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is thy strength labor sorry, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. We're going to live a while, and we're going to die. Let me express something here, my brothers and sisters, while we're standing here in front of the hospital. There are so many that is in there that is sick. Some in there is on the edge of death. Some right now is fighting for their lives. Some is returning back to their home. Some have been transpired from one life to the other. This is the life that we're living in right now. The thing about it is that just as the other week I was standing in front of the jailhouse telling everybody and young folks and all that if you do right, you won't have to end up here. And if you don't do right, you can end up there. This is another place that if you don't take care of yourself, you can end up here. You got to be careful how you treat yourself, what you put in your body, what you allow to bruise yourself with. And sometimes we don't take care of ourselves by doing things that will harm us, will cause an early death. The Bible said, Jesus said that I came that you may have life, that you might have it more abundantly. Brother and sister, God wants us to live. If you end up in the hospital, he's a healer, he's a deliverer, he's able to work miracles, he can bring you out of there. God is in there right now, working miracles in somebody's life. God is in there right now, holding somebody on this side of the life. God is in there right now, giving somebody else another chance. Then he's in there also, telling them, come on and be with me. I'll share with you today, please, live the best of your ability. Live it for Christ. You only live one day at a time. And we don't know when our time is up. But while you're living, make it your best time and live for Christ, and God will bless you, and you will have a successful life. We thank you, and God bless you for being on this time with me, a worldwide minister, a word around the world. I say to you, God bless you. Every Monday, you will be able to catch me for a word around the world. Until then, God bless and see you.